I haven't had issues with Puff where I don't like him like that. Like, I don't like things that he would do and make me uncomfortable.
So we're speaking on Diddy. We're speaking on Puff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't have that thing where, like, well, we ain't had no thing. I wasn't sending nothing at him, big. If it was on the street side like that, we would be actively doing things to each other.
Right.
And we wasn't doing that, right? So it gets to, with Jay, definitely not that. That's definitely not. It's just being competitive. You know what I mean? So I look at it, I go, whoa. So I always go into what would I do in a situation like this? Like when that type of thing happens. Like, and I'm going, I don't know. I hope things are all right for him internally.
Speaking on?
I mean, at the crib. Because in the statement they mentioned his
you're talking Jay.
His daughter would, being old enough to, because she about 13.
Right.
So it's the same age as his kids.
For weeks, the entire music industry was watching one courtroom. A federal case surrounded by rumors, celebrity witnesses, sealed evidence, and accusations so disturbing they threatened to destroy one of the most powerful names in hip-hop history, Sean Diddy Combs. And after weeks of chaos, the verdict finally arrived. Not guilty. Outside the courthouse, cameras exploded, supporters cheered, entertainment media immediately began calling it one of the biggest comeback moments in hip-hop history. For a few brief minutes, it looked like Diddy had survived the storm. But then, 50 Cent opened Instagram, and everything changed. Because while Diddy's legal team celebrated victory, 50 was preparing something else entirely. Cryptic posts, leaked screenshots, anonymous testimonies, old rivalries resurfacing, and accusations so explosive they instantly hijacked the headlines. Within minutes, Diddy's courtroom win disappeared from the news cycle completely. Now the internet wasn't asking whether Diddy beat the case. They were asking, what does 50 Cent know?
This woman here, Daphne Joy, it's rumored, after having a baby with 50 Cent and clearly being loved up with him once upon a time, later went with 50's arch nemesis Diddy and became a freak-off girl. That is so dark, man. She knows fine well she has a baby with a man who hates Diddy. I think there was a falling out between her and 50. She's getting revenge. Diddy's getting revenge on 50. But you know who's laughing now, don't you? As usual, the man who always seems to have the last laugh, 50 Cent. You see, 50 posted a picture of Jane Doe where the face is rubbed out because they're not allowed to say who it really is on his Instagram, and then on the next slide said, I wonder who it could be, and posted a picture of his baby mama, Daphne Joy. Now, we don't know for sure if it's Daphne Joy, but I think 50's a pretty reliable source on this, considering. Oh, and they're now like posting pictures of 50 taking photographs of her, and it makes him look like he was like proper loved up with her. That's awkward. Apparently Jason Derulo was once with her as well. Jason Derulo! This girl has been around. And since I last did a video on this, a few things have happened. The security guards who worked at the hotel where the CCTV footage showed Diddy beating up Cassie said, we were bribed. Yeah. No shit, of course they were. We already knew that. We had this lovely little lady here, Brianna Bongolan, testify against Diddy recently, and she said that I was hung over a balcony by Diddy, fearing for my life. She basically admitted she had a friendship with Cassie, whereby Cassie would use Diddy's money and give it to her. She'd go and get them drugs, and that Cassie was a drug addict and she was a drug addict as well. Lovely friendship. Now, the problem with the balcony incident is that her and Cassie's accounts of what happened that day did not match up. Brianna's allegation was that Diddy stormed into the 17th floor apartment, grabbed a hold of her, and held her over the 17th floor railing. She said that Cassie was asleep in the apartment during the incident and only emerged after the event had happened. Bearing in mind, these girls are friends. Cassie, on the other hand, said that she actually woke up during the incident and witnessed Diddy holding her over the balcony and pulling her back over the railing. She didn't mention being asleep or initially hearing Diddy enter the building, which is problematic, right? Because these girls were friends and their stories just don't add up. Brianna also came up with a story about how Cassie had a knife thrown at her by Diddy and that Cassie threw it back at Diddy. This was something that Cassie never ever even mentioned. Under cross-examination, Brianna couldn't recall any of the specifics, the location, etc., all the important details, and it just come across like she made it up. And obviously if you're making something up, it calls into question your entire story, especially when your mate has given a different account of it, whereby maybe you've come up with a story together and you just haven't got it straight, and then later it just isn't holding up in court. And the main issue with the balcony incident is that it happened allegedly in LA. The problem.
The atmosphere outside the courthouse was intense. Reporters sprinted to deliver breaking updates. Cameras surrounded every exit, and Diddy's supporters treated the moment like a complete public redemption. For months, his reputation had been under attack from every direction. Civil lawsuits, explosive allegations, former associates speaking publicly, leaked footage, federal investigations. And now, after surviving one of the most damaging legal periods of his career, Diddy looked relieved. But behind that relief, there were already signs of panic, because social media had started moving faster than the courtroom itself. And one person in particular was already preparing to weaponize the moment. To understand why this situation exploded the way it did, you have to understand the history between 50 Cent and Diddy. Because this wasn't random. For nearly 20 years, 50 Cent has publicly mocked, questioned, and antagonized Diddy in ways almost nobody else in the industry dared to do. Sometimes it looked playful. Other times, it looked deeply personal. 50 repeatedly accused Diddy of being fake, of hiding behind an industry persona, of manipulating public image. And unlike many artists, 50 never seemed intimidated by Puff's influence. That's important, because throughout hip-hop history, Diddy has been viewed as one of the most powerful figures in entertainment. Connections, money, executives, celebrities, politics, media relationships. But 50? He built his career on confrontation. And, according to multiple interviews over the years, the tension between them was very real.
You know, so some social situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Well, weren't you telling me that when you guys were hanging out, Diddy was calling her like 100 times?
Yeah. I mean, it was like, I think I mentioned it one other time. It was a time where it seems like he was really trying to get back with her, and he had no shame. He was very, see, that's weird to me. It's almost like that Tupac situation that I hate talking about. But like the cat that I encountered is nothing like the dude that you see publicly. Like, it's like a whole different thing. I'm seeing this vulnerable dude trying to get back with his lady. Mm-hmm. And there's no bravado, no toughness, no ego or whatever. And it's almost like in this world, it's like, I don't know, I feel like all my celebrity people that, not friends and just acquaintances, it's almost like there's a persona that they're playing this role publicly, but privately they're different people.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I interviewed, his ex-bodyguard, Roger Bonds. And he said that there were, I think multiple occasions where, Diddy would drag him to Kim Porter's house. They'd wait outside the house for 6-7 hours. Just waiting outside the house like it's a full-time job.
Right, yeah.
And Roger was like, yo, Puff, we gonna get arrested, for stalking. He's like, no, I pay the rent here. It's my place.
Mm-hmm.
They can't arrest me for stalking. And he's like, I know she's in there. Knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell, knocking on the window. No one shows up.
Yeah,
just waiting hour after hour. That's obsessive behavior.
Yeah, I feel like people don't really change much.
Yeah.
You're who you really are.
Yeah.
When it's like I see that so consistently that once you drop that persona, you're you. And then sometimes that persona can really screw you up real bad if you start buying into the image that you're projecting. That can screw you up. I'm sorry, I just don't see nobody who's got that ego or that persona thing who's happy, doing that for so long.
Yeah, it's funny. Roger was telling me about this one time, because 50's always kind of messed with Puffy. Like, he's always like joked about him and dissed him and whatever else. So this one time, you know, Roger was telling me how they were going to like MTV, and 50 was there with Tony Yayo and like 10 guys from Queens, right? And Diddy like looked at Roger and said, "Yo, man, I'm gonna punch 50 in the face."
Who said this?
Diddy.
Okay,
Diddy said he was
good
gonna
luck with
punch
that.
50 Cent in the face. And Roger was like, "Yo, there's 10 of them." Oh, what? You saying you can't hold it down? I was like, there's 10 of them. What do you expect me to do? There's 10 of them. There's 2 of us. There's 10 of them. And, you know, 50's crazy, Yayo's crazy, and a bunch of the guys with him look crazy. Like, this wasn't a bunch of like accountants and lawyers. It was like 10 street guys from Queens. He was like, "Yo, what do you expect is gonna happen after you do that?"
Well, I mean,
Then came the post that sent social media into complete meltdown. 50 Cent uploaded a blurred image tied to anonymous online testimony connected to Diddy's case. At first, people didn't understand what they were looking at. Then came the second slide, a picture of Daphne Joy, 50's former partner, the mother of his child, and instantly the internet connected the dots. Now, to be absolutely clear, none of these allegations were confirmed publicly, but online speculation exploded anyway. Thousands of users began reposting the images, reaction channels started breaking down theories, podcasts immediately picked up the story, and suddenly what had started as courtroom coverage transformed into full-blown internet warfare. As testimony continued, the case itself became increasingly controversial. Several witnesses made disturbing allegations involving violence, manipulation, drugs, and psychological control. But defense attorneys aggressively attacked inconsistencies in the stories. One of the biggest moments involved allegations surrounding a balcony incident in Los Angeles. Witness accounts reportedly conflicted on major details. One version claimed Cassie witnessed the incident directly. Another suggested she was asleep during the confrontation. Defense lawyers immediately seized on those contradictions. Then things became even more complicated. According to reports from inside the courtroom, Diddy's legal team presented evidence allegedly showing he may have been in New York during the time the incident supposedly occurred in Los Angeles. And that changed everything, because now public opinion started splitting in half. Some believed witnesses were exposing hidden truths. Others believed the prosecution's narrative was beginning to collapse.
Fuck other women, and you have to be there for him. And you're getting paid for that in 10 grand a month for the rent. And you'd also give her more money, by the way, on top of that. I think in total, on top of that, he paid her like 150 grand over the course of a couple of years, as well as the rent. She talks about the first freak off that ever happened between them. Apparently they were on drugs, they were watching some dirty movies, and, you know, he was on about the fantasy of, you know, her doing stuff. And she was like, yeah, I'd be into it. And he said, it can happen tonight. How did you react? I was like, tonight? Okay. And from there, it's the usual stuff. Diddy's jerking off in the corner. She's getting it on with some entertainer, as they're calling them here. They ask her, how did it feel? She said, I felt exhilarated. It was taboo. I had a good time with my partner. So she admits she had a good time. They ask for an example of how much money she would get from Diddy in one go. She said $20,000. Just like the rest of them. More motivation to keep doing stuff to please him. She's getting money, he's getting sex. And they even wrote up a contract called a love contract, which I think is the nicest way to put what we're doing here. Diddy is an expert salesman, by the way. Like, the framing of that is unreal. Because what you're doing is you're getting a full-time hooker. Let's be real here. And that's the ironic thing is 50 is bang on when he calls her a sex worker. And look, as much as a lot of people feel sorry for these women who were caught up with Diddy in getting paid to do these acts, that ordinary women who read this think, I would never want to do that, therefore she's a victim. But that's not the way to look at this. You have to look at it through their actions, not what you'd want to do. They're signing up to it literally in a love contract. And as much as ordinary women wouldn't want to do that that shit? Why do you think there's so many Instagram baddies who are always on holiday yet have no fucking job to speak of? How do you think that's happening? You notice there's no men in the photographs. Exactly. They're the guys behind the camera. They're always in fucking Dubai and places like that. This is far more normal at the elite level than what any of us would ever imagine. Because these men can't be fucking asked to do the romance thing. They want what they want. They want to pay for it and know that it's going to be there and that they don't have to fucking try, basically. Because they ain't got time for love. They're fucking businessmen, these guys. And they're also sexually deviant. And a lot of these women who maybe have got self-respect wouldn't want to do this sort of shit. And I think one of the main mistakes people are making when they're looking at this case is judging what they would want to do and not just looking at the actions and the words of these women agreeing to this stuff. And not over a course of a month or a couple of months, but years. And that is also why they would tolerate him being physical with them. Because the alternative is, who the fuck pays my rent? And yet people could say that's coercion, that's coercive control. They keep going back to him. And this Jane, as we're calling her, details how the intercourse would go with the entertainer. So basically, the lawyer asks, how would it end? She said, he'd finish on me, and then I'd go and have sex with Sean. She asked, would you clean up the ejaculate? Fucking hell, what a word. She said no. Diddy would like to play around with it. Then what? I would take a shower and get ready for the next one. And often, throughout this testimony, she would do 3 of them in one night, not including Diddy. And she would just shower in between, get ready for the next one. Imagine if they say his 50s baby mama, right? And he's reading this and he's thinking, God, I had a kid with her. It's not what you want.
Then came the moment that completely shifted the narrative. Less than an hour after Diddy's courtroom celebration, 50 Cent posted, "Not guilty doesn't mean innocent." One sentence. That was all it took. The post exploded instantly. Millions of views, thousands of reposts, celebrity reactions, reaction channels, memes. And then, 50 started posting what he claimed were receipts. Screenshots, financial references, anonymous messages, alleged insider information. None of it had been independently verified, but online, verification barely mattered anymore because the internet had already decided this was the next chapter in one of hip-hop's most toxic feuds.
It's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case. 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, after the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator. Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark, what happened in the elevator? And she said, quote, Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns. The prosecutor then asked, what's the issue with an individual? And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent. On Instagram, 50 posted right after his name came up in the courtroom, quote, cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun? I can't believe this. I don't feel safe, with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low. Sad face emoji. I think I'm gonna hide out at the playoff game tonight, LOL. Then the next day he posted what he did that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, Free Diddy, playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty. Join us now to talk more about the trial of Sean Diddy Combs and everything that's going on inside the courtroom is Afi Patterson, civil and criminal defense attorney. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. We're focusing on what was a minor moment in the grand scheme of everything.
According to eyewitness reports outside the courthouse, the mood changed almost immediately. Moments earlier, Diddy had been smiling for cameras. Then an assistant reportedly showed him the viral posts from 50. His expression changed instantly. Witnesses claimed Diddy became visibly furious. Some reports even described a chaotic scene involving emergency discussions among his team as phones began ringing non-stop. Because now, this wasn't just about the courtroom anymore. It was about public perception, and public perception moves faster than any legal system. But what made this situation truly surreal was the way 50 Cent transformed the entire controversy into entertainment. He started posting memes nonstop, AI-generated movie posters, fake panic reactions, sarcastic captions, mock fear. At one point, 50 even joked online about needing protection after hearing testimony involving alleged threats connected to his name. Then came another viral moment. 50 appeared courtside at an NBA playoff game wearing a shirt that read, "Free Diddy." The internet lost its mind again. To some people, it was hilarious trolling. To others, it looked cold, calculated, and deeply personal. As clips spread across social media, the music industry became divided. Some commentators argued that 50 was exposing deeper truths hiding behind celebrity power. Others accused him of exploiting controversy for clicks, engagement, and attention. But regardless of opinion, one thing became undeniable. 50 had completely stolen the spotlight. Diddy's legal victory was no longer the main story. 50 Cent was.